Hi there. AMD reported the results for the last quarter, Q1, and net income has increased. As you can see here, net income for Q1 2025 has increased year over year by 476%. But the stock price had no reaction so far. So why is that? Why the stock price doesn't go up? If you also look at the history of the stock price, you can see that over the last 5 years, AMD has had many ups and downs, especially here, a great opportunity. Now, how can you value this company? Because this is the past. You can no longer make money here. You will make money in the future, here. Only if the stock price goes higher. So you have to assess that. You look at their revenue, earnings, and try to predict how they will evolve. And to understand that, you also have to look at their growth rate. You see here, year over year, revenue, as I said, up 46%, gross margins up 3%, operating income up over 2000%, and net income again up a lot, over 400%. But if you look here on the right side, quarter over quarter, this means that from Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, the revenue was down 3%. Same for operating income, only net income was up 47%. And this is quite bad. You know why? Because the market expected AMD to deliver high growth in the future for the next quarter and so on. But as you can see, yes, year over year, you had this amazing growth rate, but compared to the previous quarter, Q4 2024, revenue didn't increase that much. And this is a problem. Plus, they also offered guidance for the second quarter, Q2 2025. And if you look here, Q2 2025, revenue is expected to be about $7.4 billion, plus minus 300 million. So again, you have to compare this revenue, $7.4 billion, with last year, Q2 2024. And of course, revenue 5.8 billion. So again, you have another increase in the revenue from 5.8 billion to 7.4 billion. But again, the market expects more from this company, AMD. They want a higher growth rate, and to look at the real growth rate, what the market follows, what the market tracks, you have to look at the prior quarter, the previous quarter, 7.4 billion. Keep in mind this number, yes? Now let's go back here. Q1 2025, 7.4 billion, about the same. Q4 2024, 7.6 billion. So what do you see here? A decline from 7.6 billion to 7.4 billion. And then next quarter, the revenue might be flat or with plus minus 300 million. Keep in mind that number. So the growth rate has slowed down. Quarter over quarter, there is no growth rate for the previous quarter, this quarter, and next quarter. And that's why the stock price did nothing here when they reported the results. Now, you also have to understand the valuation for this company, because this is quite important, the price you pay. Yes, the PE ratio is around 73, but again, this is a high PE ratio because the market, as I said, expects a lot of growth from AMD. As you probably know, there is a huge project in the US to build AI infrastructure of about $500 billion. Then you have hyperscalers, those cloud vendors, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, which together invest more than they're planning to invest more than 150 billion, or even more than that, close to 200 billion. And there is high demand for GPUs, especially from NVIDIA, and also AMD, because some companies want to diversify, not only to rely only on NVIDIA, also on AMD. And AMD is here, and that's why they are here. If you look at their segments, you can see the data center segment which has the highest growth rate, and you see their operating margins quite high, 25%. Then client and gaming, which again is growing, operating margins a little bit lower, 17%. And then embedded segment, operating margins quite high, higher than client and gaming and data center, of about 40%. And this is quite great, but as you can see, the revenue flat, no growth here. Here you have up 28%, data center up 57%. So going forward, yes, you have to predict the demand for their GPUs especially, because that's the highest growth rate, and then if they can maintain their margins. If you look at their guidance, here, gross margins about 43%. If you exclude their one-time charge, 54%. So 54%, you can take this number, 54%. Compare with last year, 2024, 49%. That's an improvement. That's great. And then compare with current quarter, 50%. So their margins seems that are sustainable for the moment. Now, if you look at this company, look at their earnings, past earnings, 1.6 billion, 800 million, 1.3, 3 billion, 2.4 billion. Now for 2025, they might make, if everything goes well, 3 billion in earnings. Maybe between 2.5 and 3 billion in earnings. Now, if AMD makes 3 billion in earnings, but they have no growth rate in the future, I mean, it's flat, that'll be quite bad. Because the current market cap of $164 billion is quite expensive. The stock price is quite expensive. You have to see another decline of 20-30% to have a nice return. But, as I said, after Q2, if the growth rate starts to increase again, to report again those high numbers, up 9%, 20%, then the market cap can be fairly valued right now. And the stock price can increase, go back to $200 and you have a double. So everything depends on their future growth rate. For the moment, they say that they expect no growth rate, second quarter, compared to the previous quarter, only year over year, you have an upside in their revenue. And then you have to see what's next. But again, be also aware of tariffs, because that will affect their also demand and profit margins. So you also have to take into account that problem, that issue. So for the moment, AMD, in my view, is overvalued, even if you have this massive decline, over 52% from its highest peak. This is my view. Now, I may be wrong. The stock price can go back to $200, but as I said, only if the growth rate comes back. They report a growth rate over 20% in their total revenue. If that happens, yes, the stock price can double. But if the revenue flat, as they expect for the moment, the stock price is overvalued. Now, if you want better investment ideas with low risk and high return, then you can join my membership. Go to my profile, press join, and then you have 3 levels where you have access to my portfolio, an investing course, ongoing investing course, plus exclusive an hour coaching call with me, where you can ask me anything you want about investing. And of course, you also have access to my portfolio, see what I buy, what I sell, and an investing course. So if you want to make money with low risk, then join my membership. So that's it for this video, and if you have other questions, please let me know in the comments.